Well, I kind of did.
Of course, you ran into the problem with before long. You lost flanking partners as a rogue. Unless you have the ability to feint to get your sneak attack.
I have ability to teleport, so I was able to do
That's
that.
the straw.
Okay.
Okay.
A natural 20. I confirm with another natural 20.
They came
I
with
confirm with another natural 19.
a pair of.
The third confirmation of normal rules.
So he had me do quadruple damage.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, I rolled 22 points, so it's just 88 points. Wow. There's nothing left.
And that's what they assume that you use. There's 4 of those actually, and they do not. I don't
that one
think
took
the
up
middle
a hit.
set is.
Yeah. Well, expectation for a rogue is you
No,
will
the middle set
probably
is
do
not
about
full.
4 die 6
They're
damage
just tacked down.
around, assuming
Yes.
you can move to
Okay,
flank.
so can you use it for
So,
this?
Yes.
4
Yes.
die 6
So you
plus
can make
2 or 3.
3 smaller.
Now, if you're not doing a sneak attack,
Utensils.
you
I said
You
as
could.
long as you move to
The,
a flank. Without the flank, you suck.
Yes, you could.
don't. He doesn't automatically use
I
sneak
don't
attack.
know that the
It
the
almost always
tap and
does.
dive works very well using the end piece with
Then
the implement.
It isn't normal
Yeah,
I haven't
rules.
forced that. Haven't tried.
It's designed.
Matt knows
From
that
what they
book
said,
very well.
it's designed to have
But,
a lock,
Were the
Okay.
so
opponent's
that
rules?
Well,
when these two snap
Were the
together.
opponent's barbarians?
well
They're
you,
more
you
permanent.
can have one for
Were
each
they
implement,
elemental?
and then put
No.
a second one on
they
the
were 3
spoon
feet
for
tall
ice
creatures with black or yellow.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's one of these in there which is that.
So
take
that
it out.
would be the straight hands.
Yes, that gives you a grip to tighten
Not the scrogs, but the other
Oh.
These things will go inside of it,
I kind of did the beast
and then you
book.
can
I had
have
it
it.
there.
Now there's a fiddly part of putting
Oh, I
away
see,
the
that's pretty deadly.
chopsticks.
So you
Yes,
have 5
which
or
I'm
6
about
by
to.
roll.
Why 5? Sort of subtly.
I'm gonna have to.
No, you get 1,
I may have to
and then you get
complain about one of my.
You said
chopsticks.
5th level, that's
Because-
3 dice 6 a snake.
Oh dear.
pretty sure it's
Because
very
it
not
doesn't go
5.
in all the way, and
Um,
that's I forced it to
Plus
get
one
that far, and this
clause.
one actually belongs to Underset.
Okay.
it's very deadly.
So yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, it's. I mean, this one, it just goes in nice and easy. That one,
5th
I
level,
don't think
3d6.
it's. I don't think it's tapped all the way.
Wait, I've got one.
Oh, you've got one? Then that one must be mine. Yep, that one's mine.
It isn't a 3d6 on top of the 2d6, huh? Oh, okay.
Awesome.
It isn't what?
Isn't the 3d6 added to the 2d6?
No, it is. That is the total of what you add to the roll.
What are you gonna have to?
Otherwise,
Are
it would be
those-
6 at that point. 1 plus 2 plus 3. No.
Are
it's
the two
straight 3d6 plus your weapon?
the one in the middle?
And sort
Is
of
obviously
subtlety
the
would give you an
chopstick
extra
goes
die
in.
6 of sneak attack.
Is obviously the chopstick goes in
Yes.
first.
Correct.
As a weapon?
That's
there a
a
functional
magic, a
difference
specific magic
between-
weapon. Yes.
I don't have that.
The left and right holes.
You do, and at
I
5th
don't
level,
think
you
so.
probably shouldn't.
I do have a knife that returns when I throw it.
You put them.
Okay, that's useful.
Yes.
Sure is.
You put the
Your
threads
roll
out
to
on the
have.
middle piece, and it doesn't matter whether you put the
Really
closed
strong.
end
No, I
or the
don't have
tap
a slide
end
to mine.
of the
Strength.
end piece.
So your strength
Cylindrical.
Right.
So Hagen?
I'm a catfolk.
No, the sea creatures. Sahagin?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
They shouldn't be.
Yeah, well, we had a few people unconscious, so. Here you go.
I hadn't
They
noticed
should
the
be
straws.
flankable.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think them about.
Doesn't matter. I made 6th level, so I'm Shadow Master now.
Okay.
I have to go and you do all that.
There isn't much redoing.
I make second. I make second level after the next run, wherever it is.
I will make third level after the next credit in my goblin, and am third level on my half elf. But the half elf cheated.
Started out at second.
It started at second. Yes.
You got enough playtest points for that?
Yeah, just barely. Didn't have enough to get into third immediately. Nor will I have enough to buy third for a different PC. But it was especially appropriate for him since I wanted to do the multi-class dedication. So starting with him having it was
Useful.
useful.
The Eager Apprentice, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the name of that faction boon is for
Okay.
Envoys Alliance.
I'd have
Didn't help
to
a lot.
look at the boons. I don't have.
It's the one where you have somebody where you have somebody that's dragging along with you.
Oh yeah.
That once per run, once per session, I think he automatically aids.
Oh, that's nice.
And you mark down all the XP that you earn while you have that boon slotted.
Okay.
And when it hits 60,
Uh-huh.
you can start a character at third, I think it is.
That would be nice.
And then there's another one that you can stack on top of that one.
Okay.
So that between the two of them, when you've got 120, if you turn 120 on both of them, I forget what you get to start the character at, but
Well,
it's like fourth or fifth. I think it's fifth.
It's first level what I hate the most.
Okay.
It isn't as bad in second edition as it has been in all the past editions,
Okay.
but still.
We are live,
All right.
and socials have been updated.
Social.
My social media accounts,
you-
Discord
you
and
have announced
Twitter.
it.
Yes, I have announced on my Discord and on my Twitter that we have gone on.
As I recall, we were still following a train.
Yes.
Yes.
You hadn't lost it yet.
It hadn't lost us either.
Yep.
It tried taking a few sudden turns.
Yes, of course it did.
It tried to slip through that hole in my pocket, but
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, it is good that we haven't lost track of it yet.
Mm-hmm.
you sound so confident.
Well, I mean, that one NPC did lose track of a train. He was in a train yard. But,
Let's see. Yes, and it's on a Union Pacific.
it is on a Union Pacific train, as a matter of fact, yes. Laurel is watching, so hello, Laurel.
Hello, Laurel.
And Viperman 1979, thank you very much for the host. Laurel says hi all.
In-game date is what?
17th.
Of January? Still?
17th? I'm still on the 16th of February.
Oh, it's February. Okay.
I could easily be wrong.
No, it's
I show
February.
that we skip to the 17th. I believe it was somewhere between,
It is the 17th. Yes.
Very well.
between Pittsburgh and St. Louis.
I sit corrected.
Yeah, every time we pass a day, every time the new day happens.
I do the
Which
same
is why I can look back and go, God, this day's been so long.
Yes.
Only one stunt, huh?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, that's
These are
exciting.
savagely sealed.
There's scissors in there.
He wants to make use of his multi-tool.
Yes. This is what my multi-tool is mostly used for. That's not true. It's mostly used for the pliers. But once you get off track,
None of this is for you. None.
there you go.
I'll be doing my own cutting Sunday. We're doing cutting tatami mats.
Ah.
So,
What sort of mats?
race mats.
Oh,
They still measure apartments in Japan by tatamis.
Really?
Yes.
so
So
1 meter by 2 meters.
At least the last time I got a report from a traveler who stayed an extended period. That was about 2 years ago.
last year, my nephew got stuck in Japan for 6 weeks. It's, being in the Navy, the ship had a problem. He said he doesn't want to eat rice ever again.
That would be a problem if you were in Japan.
They basically have rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yep. And they even make candy out of rice. So
Rice candy's good.
Some flavors of it are good.
I
That's
rice paper
flavor.
that you eat.
What?
And we even make a rice paper with a little candy that you can eat. I brought them here once.
Now following a Union Pacific train. Roughly westward.
And all our methods of tracking it are giving the same answers so far. Which
Yep, the letter is on the mail car.
and the mail cars expected
Sat around in St. Louis for a while, but
Like 4 hours or something.
yeah.
is expected to hit Kansas City, Denver, Salt Lake City, and finally San Francisco.
Now, you had your companion watching it in the mail car, right? So nobody
Yeah.
walked into the mail car and opened the letter and then sealed it, did they?
Not
not while he was there, and he's only been coming back to report very briefly, and then going back to watching.
And he's
Minus his bathroom break, right?
One of the advantages of being a ghost.
he's got a better read on the actual letter than on the envelope.
Because what we're tracking the envelope with is a high-tech gizmo tucked under the stamp, but the letter has something mysterious about the ink, which he can easily
Well,
track.
I'm assuming the same ink was used for addressing the envelope.
Whether we did or not, you can
I don't think anybody said that.
make
But,
sense, but I don't remember anyone saying it either.
I believe
The,
someone
um,
has said it.
The
Oh.
letter was written and addressed
Using the
ink.
same ink. Okay, well, I guess that's true then.
Fair enough. Anyway, yes, since you had a chance to check out the ink remaining in the bottle, he's got a good read on the signature there. If somebody wanted to peel the stamp off and remove the electronic device and carefully put the stamp back in place, and they got lucky on doing it while he didn't happen to be there, that he might not notice.
Or
Well-
someone with Jackstone.
Yeah.
But who would do that? Because no one is going to. I mean, the electronic object is so tiny.
Yeah.
You'd have to be basically looking at the stamp with a magnifying glass to notice it.
Or you need some
I mean,
sort
or
of very fancy
focus
detector
sensors.
to pick it
yeah,
up
I mean,
yourself.
your level of visual senses for investigation would be able to do it, but
If
you're
you roll
But I-
way beyond exceptional.
Yeah, I'd be using a magnifying glass anyway for that sort of work, because why not get another +1?
Mhm.
Magnifying glass. That's the one I need. Got a lucky coin, too. I'm not quite sure what that's going to be good for.
It's an
A bit of
aspect
luck.
when you need it.
That
However,
+1 has come in handy once in a while.
It is mystery based. Some of us aren't really that connected with what
It was
does.
explained to you how you could use it
It was explained.
in a non-mysteries way.
It was explained in
Everybody believes in a
Yes.
lucky coin.
Say you're in, South America or Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Africa is more likely, and you encounter native tribesmen. You can pull out the coin and show it to them and claim that as an aspect. They will have a chance of recognizing it and honor you because you have the coin. That's not a mysteries
That
thing.
isn't a mystery.
Nope. That's a social engineering thing. I don't know what skill it would come under in this game. Leadership or contacting, probably.
It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to communicate with them, maybe it's rapport.
If you're trying to persuade them that you're too formidable to attack,
It could
might
be intimidation. Yes.
You reach from the napkin.
So yes, you are beyond a shadow of a doubt. You're certain that you're following the letter, and almost absolutely certain that nobody has disturbed it at all because it's been under observation by somebody who's a reasonably good observer almost the entire time.
Yeah.
So it would have to be somebody, as
Call it,
Jack's level of stealth.
Yeah.
To just go by the person. Well,
call it
person.
approximately 98% of the time.
Yeah.
You've been away from it,
Right.
say 15 or 20 minutes per 24 hours at a guesstimate. Maybe not even that long, since you can, from the mail car to me and back nearly instantaneously.
Regardless, it is very slim chance.
Yeah.
We have done all that we could unreasonably do, and a few things unreasonable.
Yes.
Yes.
You have gone beyond the call of duty to deal with making sure that it hasn't been disturbed and that you are following it.
What was Simon's role on mixing up the ink? I'm trying, is that,
It was something awful.
No way anybody could read it without opening, right?
Sure.
Um,
All you would have to do, and then she goes into a scientific lecture
Right.
about
you would need
creating a
either
scanner.
some fancy high-tech scanner, or you would need some really special mysteries-based perception, or an ally who has an unusual mysteries-based perception, like a ghost or elemental that can pass.
Annie is
themselves
sure
out.
she could come up with something to read through the envelope.
Yeah,
I
if you
have
had
no
if you had the
doubt.
with it's in a bag of mail though.
Yeah,
so
not like that.
no.
But
But if
she
you-
could basically create a light table or something where she could
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, you would not need mad scientists for that.
I still would probably use it.
I'm sure you would. Yes.
It was either awe-inspiring or godlike. I didn't actually write it down.
It was mostly about how much time it took.
Yeah, which was I think 15 minutes.
Anyway, we have at least awe-inspiring Mysteries Inc., and I'm sure the electronic device is would have been at
Well,
least legendary.
The roll doesn't affect what it is.
Yeah.
It's just
Just
great.
how easy it is. Okay.
Yes.
The device is
The
of great
device is
quality.
great.
Okay. And it's the quality of the device that would be relevant for someone else trying to detect it or spoof it somehow.
Yeah.
Ditto for the ink. The ink is also great.
Don't always grasp every small point of game mechanics even after all this time.
Okay, so it takes about 8 hours to get across Missouri.
I'm sure that's a real exciting 8 hours.
It
Better
seems-
than Montana.
It
granted.
seems longer than that in a car.
At,
I
at
can tell
least
you.
we've got a nice view here.
So,
And there's a billiards table back there, isn't there?
and you do pass
Wow.
through
Yeah.
Columbia, Missouri, sort of midway, but they don't stop there.
Where did we drop off the guy? Or
St.
haven't
Louis.
we yet? St. Louis?
St.
Okay.
Louis, he is no longer with you.
Yay!
To everybody's
right, I
relief
cleaned
in
up the
varying
circle.
degrees.
Absolutely, yes. Decontaminated.
I think Annie felt like a magic circle sort of contaminated her cargo area.
It was taking up a lot of space.
Well,
that is true as well.
It'd be funny if you couldn't get it off now.
It was not indelibly marked or etched into the surface.
That you knew of.
And it was a health problem because I didn't run plumbing there.
Yeah. So you get to Kansas City. It is still the 17th. And there is
Which
a
Kansas City?
it is Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Okay.
So the big one.
And I found out that Kansas City, Kansas is a comparatively small city that's a suburb of Kansas City, Missouri. I did feel that was slightly weird.
Yeah. Well, it is the way that it is. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I've been in both of them actually.
I haven't.
I don't think I've been either.
Other than Kansas.
I know I've been through them, but I mostly when I was too young to remember. I was born in Kansas.
All right. 2-hour layover in Kansas City.
Okay.
And the train does pass through Kansas City, Kansas. It just doesn't stop there.
It probably even at least goes by rail yards in Kansas City. Because there'd be a lot of freight
Yes.
trains, including
Yes.
cattle trains, that would stop there,
Uh-huh.
but we're not.
You are not. All right, and then let's see.
Wow, this is about as exciting as watching grass grow.
Yep. I'm sure that both Rick and Edgy are glad of the billiards table and also interested in what can they serve you for drinks? Can't quite pull the still stuff in our cellar we've never served yet on a train, or at least it's slightly less plausible.
Yeah, but you're in Annie's area.
You're in Annie's area.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
No problem.
it really doesn't matter what
Yep.
prohibition says.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
She'll just go and acquire it legally in some other country.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And if
She doesn't have to worry about federal agents raiding her cellar.
no, that would
That would be a severe compromising of my.
Yes. So, 18 incredibly boring hours later, as you cross Kansas,
Oh, good! I'm making good progress on the alien message.
yeah.
you cross Kansas. Wow, this is boring, you say,
Mm-hmm.
and go into
I
Colorado.
almost missed Missouri.
Actually, once you get into Colorado,
The scenery will
the
get
scenery
better.
gets a lot better.
They were out of a wheat field finally.
Do we have weather reports for what it's expected to be in the mountains?
Oh, this is winter. It's gonna stink.
Not too bad.
Okay.
For winter in Colorado.
For winter in Colorado, yes. Winter in the mountains.
Is Rick still doing some of the piloting?
Has
the
to
train's
trade
moving.
off because
You only got one. You only have one
So
pilot,
it
right?
is the 18th
I only
now.
have one pilot, so yes.
Yeah, the train has multiple engineers, so it doesn't have to worry about.
It also doesn't have to worry about updrafts or downdrafts.
Yes.
Well, Kansas wasn't a problem for that.
No.
But Colorado may. Maybe.
We just had to divert around the future trailer parks.
They don't actually
don't think
attract
the
tornadoes in the future or past.
Yeah, I was going
I
to say
was-
tornadoes now wouldn't know where there are going to be trailer parks in
You
30
mean you don't
years.
decide where the trailer park is by the amount of tornadoes through?
Pretty sure that's not how they decide.
Not on purpose. Not usually.
All right.
Next.
There is a 4-hour layover in Denver.
Okay.
And they uncouple some cars, and other cars get coupled. You pay close attention. The mail car stays with the same
Engine.
engine. Yes.
And I'm
You know,
guessing.
I'm really
they-
hoping it's a Vanderbilt engine too. By the way.
I'm guessing that there are post office employees that go into it to load on yet more mail,
Yes.
but the particular piece we're tracking does not seem to be
More,
disturbed.
yes, more sacks of mail get loaded onto the mail car.
Everything to California, to San Francisco, and everywhere else in California that San Francisco be the logical distribution point, and everything going west across the ocean.
Probably everything to the west coast.
Could be. They might They might do stuff separately to Seattle. There's rail lines that go further north and be more efficient.
So,
Did they go through Denver at this point?
That I do not know. My knowledge of the
so 12
rail
hours
lines is
later,
like 60 plus years.
it is now the
later
19th,
Now.
All right.
and it pulls into Salt Lake City, which is not a very big city at the moment, but
Not very big.
stop there anyway, because really
How
It's
long
only in
is the
comparison
expected
to everything
layover?
around it.
a 2-hour layover in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Did we go by Colville, Utah? Where I did a lot of testing.
I do not know. Colville?
Colville.
See it.
COL or COAL?
COAL.
So, you guys can keep pretty good watch on it, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that having a 2-hour layover, I probably have enough time where I could figure out a way to set up an alarm where when it gets to the edge of my detection array, it would sound the alarm so that we don't have to pay rapt attention. Well, okay, I haven't been doing rapt attention. Wouldn't have to pay nearly
Somebody's
as much
been watching
attention.
your repeater screen the whole time.
Yes, so it wouldn't require quite as
Me
much
or
attention.
Rick or maybe probably Jack sometimes. Jack
So,
plays
does
more.
anyone have problems with me trying to do that while we're on this 2-hour layover?
Go ahead.
Go
You
for
have
it.
to do an unusually poor for you job to damage the original detector in the process, so sure, go for it.
And,
I don't see the value added to doing this, but
well, if someone falls asleep at the
It
detector
reduces,
or
it reduces
something.
the level of stress on the pilot.
yeah, well, the Centurion is not going to fall asleep.
I
It
do
does
that
mean we
every-
wouldn't have to pay attention to it every moment.
It means taking a bathroom break is not a security risk. How's that? Okay. So how
What's
does
the-
this work? Since I really don't have a vehicle workshop, but I'm really just working with the alarm system that's already in the roll science, and then worry about it. Roll
Yeah, why don't you
engineering
roll science
inventory.
and tell me what you roll?
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm on that. Constant tinkerer.
Definitely apply.
Yeah, that is absolutely appropriate here.
You've got 2 hours, I think I can improve the equipment.
I will just take the +2 from the constant tinkerer, which would give me a result of fantastic on science, or superb if it was engineering.
What's the final result?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. I believe.
Fantastic. Okay.
And I don't know what you would call it base time, but
Well, okay, so for this detector, you just started out with. I mean, you're improving the detector itself, not your ship.
right.
And I think
That could start out as a radio.
started out as a radio, and then one improvement.
So it's probably at great.
It probably started out at
No.
great. Yes.
Started out at great.
I mean,
Okay.
well, I mean, finished at great. Sorry.
Finished at great. Yes.
I'm talking about for this improvement.
Okay.
It started at great. So then
Okay,
you're going
so
to
that-
superb, and so you
One
got it by
extra
one
shift.
shift, which means 4 hours. 4 hours.
Okay.
You have 4 hours, as a matter of fact, for this layover. Oh wait, no,
I
that
thought
was
you
the 2
said
hours. This is
2
the
hours.
2-hour layover. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So the train starts up again, and
You're
Andy
still
is
working
still
on
I'm
it,
still
but that's
working
okay.
on it.
It's okay.
Really, any moment now. I
Any
should
second
have-
now, you'll have it done.
Yes.
And we will assume that the detector will be working again shortly. And
Yes.
meanwhile, Mysteries Methods confirms that the letter and the envelope are still in the same place in the mail.
And we can just visually watch the train for purposes of following it in the airship.
Yep.
All right.
The radio probably started out as fair.
I think you had 2 improvements on it to make it do what you wanted it to do already, and then so
That popped up at great.
so now it's at superb. So then another incredibly boring 18 hours later.
Except we have to go over the Sierra Nevadas at some point. That'll
Okay,
give
so
us nicer
it's
scenery.
15 incredibly boring hours going across Nevada, Utah and Nevada, and then you hit the Sierra Nevada mountains, and that's pretty, I guess. And then into San Francisco. So it is now the 20th. The morning of the 20th.
So, is there any reason once it has reached international waters to continue following
point, it might make more sense to try and jump ahead of it, because we do not want to follow at the,
Rate of a tugboat.
well, it won't be a
Okay, it's not a
tugboat, it'll be a
tugboat.
slow freighter.
It'll be a
It's
slow
a
freighter.
freight ship, yes. Yes, it's not fast, but it is
Could
not
be
a
a cruise
tugboat.
ship.
They're down to small fragments.
I'll take them. Go ahead.
You brought them, I wanted to check.
I'm fine.
Honest. He feels just fine about it.
I'll just sit over here. I'm okay.
Never heard anybody do that so well that wasn't Jewish or Catholic.
All right, so as I said, it's the morning of the
God
20th.
forbid I should have food in my mouth.
And they finally take the letter off of the train. They load. Well, I mean, they load actually multiple trucks with mail that then get driven to the San
The
Francisco
port.
Central Post Office.
Oh,
And then, I mean, you easily follow the trucks. They're not going especially fast.
Or doing evasion maneuvers.
Yes, they're not trying to lose you. And they're trucks laden with heavy mail, lots and lots of mail. So,
One letter doesn't weigh that much, thousands of them add up.
yes. So yes, they get driven like into an underground garage-like area. And loaded into sort of a processing area. You're getting more frequent reports from your spirit companion.
But it keeps getting moved.
Yes, it's not just sitting in a mail car for multiple days anymore.
And if there's anybody in there that has mysteries at average rather than mediocre, they might occasionally get an odd chill or a sense of being watched.
They'd have to physically handle the letter, I think, at average for them to.
I
No,
think
even-
he was
even that,
talking
even
about
that-
I was
Dusty.
thinking of my spirit companion
okay.
hanging around
I
and
see,
observing
yes.
so closely.
No.
Always possible.
Yeah, somebody might walk through the spirit companion and
The thing is, though, in order
It
to
is
do
San Francisco, so they could have higher than mediocre.
If they had fair and then rolled a +4, they would notice your spirit companion.
but you
Yeah.
see, in order to investigate, you need a reason to investigate.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
right.
you don't investigate.
Yeah, well, this would be more like an alertness sort of thing. But
Mhm.
yeah. So, yes, all the mail gets put into a processing area, and very efficiently, it's well,
So, unlike now.
the U.S. Postal Service processes a lot of mail.
They are actually
They do a
very
reasonably efficient job of it. I mean, Amazon uses them for 2-day deliveries quite often. So, yes, it gets loaded into machines that zip in front of multiple different people, who then type on a little keypad, and then it gets zipped off to someplace else.
And eventually ends up in a bin that says international surface mail or something. Well, yeah,
Right.
you just say international mail.
So,
Air mail isn't
um,
a thing, yeah.
make an investigation roll for your spirit companion, because it's zipping through these machines rather fast.
I think for anything he does, I need to roll on my mysteries.
Yeah.
I can't use my investigation.
No,
That
you
works
cannot
for
use your
him.
investigation. You're not there. They would notice you.
Yeah,
Why are you running around in the post office?
I finally have.
Holding onto a letter.
Yeah, I finally have reason to bother using a fate point. Isn't it obvious? And that is a super roll.
Not for you, I guess.
Okay. Okay, well, it is a good thing you used the fate point.
Yes, with a good roll, he might have lost track of it, at least temporarily.
Yes.
You're gonna take popcorn, are you? You're not gonna get any popcorn.
So,
Just let you know.
yes, do not give the dog pop.
Right.
I'm afraid Harris got one piece, it fell on the floor, and he
well,
found it
can't really
before
do much
he
about
could get
that.
it.
Organic vacuum cleaner.
So at some point, the letter that your spirit companion was following
Mhm.
paused at a like switch junction,
Mhm.
and somebody picked it up.
Okay.
So as soon as that happened, your spirit companion basically
Goes up to
goes up, reports, and comes back down
Right.
again.
Okay.
So he wanted to make sure you knew that
Okay.
something weird just happened because
Right.
no other pieces of mail were getting picked up.
So either this was misaddressed or one of the machines malfunctioned temporarily.
No.
or it's being intercepted.
Yeah.
I know it's one of the
Please.
three, I'm guessing.
So,
Me too, but
I presume you alert us to this.
no, he keeps it a secret all to himself.
I was giving him an opportunity to say that he was going to keep it a secret.
Okay.
Yes, it
we
is.
we need to get down there ASAP.
I have ropes.
I'm
We
willing
can
to
do
wait
it that.
until.
It goes somewhere.
Yeah.
as long as it stays in the building and we can continue to track it, we don't have to take drastic action yet. Although getting ropes ready just in case some of us
Same
need to
ones
do
you
a
use.
fast drop.
They're a very fast drop.
A very fast drop. It's
Without,
sudden
you
I
know,
can-
hitting
I can go walk into the
yeah.
post office and not be spotted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The guards at the post office are not good enough to spot you unless you roll like a -4 and just leave it at that, and then the guard rolls a +4.
Should we head down?
No.
If a couple of you want to head down to be in place, if it leaves the building, that isn't
If
necessarily
nothing
a
else-
bad idea.
I just
Yeah,
want
I-
to wander
but
around
I'll
and follow the
watch-
guy who's holding it. That's all.
I'll watch the scope,
Sure.
the
So?
detector.
I
Okay.
guess I have to roll stealth here.
If I'm down there, that shortens the communications, and not by much. It might be almost unmeasurable fractions of a second, but it feels like I'm doing something useful to get closer.
So, do you want to take the bungee cord down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What did you roll on yourself?
I got a legendary.
Okay. Yeah, there's no way anybody's seeing you.
I probably need to roll athletics to make sure I'm okay with this trick.
Oh, you're using the bungee cord as
If
well?
if I'm going down too, I am.
All right. Who's going down then? You,
Three of us.
and you, and
Everyone,
you.
No, you
everyone
should
but Annie.
Everyone but
Annie's
Annie.
not going. Okay.
Simon, could I suggest you stay up here so if there's anything that needs to be coordinated with Annie, you're here.
Okay.
Just a hunch. But I get
The,
good hunches sometimes.
ropes will get us down fast enough if we need to.
Yeah, that's true.
I almost don't need a rope. I got on-spiring.
For athletics.
You still
Wow.
need a rope.
You can't just jump out the cargo door.
Well, yeah. I'm not Captain America in the second
That's not a
movie
bad
where he
start.
just jumps out of
You have a plane.
a helicopter and
I
yeah,
think
not
you're
worried.
okay
Full +4.
for the athletics.
Wow. Okay.
That's
That's,
fantastic.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have a problem.
In fact, I look more graceful
Okay.
than usual.
A fast rappel.
Did anybody get less than 3? No. Okay.
We're down. It went very smoothly, and we were stealth before we started down.
Okay. So you're on the roof of the post office right
Sure.
now. did you tell your spirit companion you were heading down to the roof of the post office? I mean, he just
Probably
zipped
not.
up, let you know that something had happened, what it was that happened, and then
Well,
zipped back so he could continue following the
Okay.
guy.
Depends on how quickly he. No, because I would have reported it to the rest of the party, and we
group,
would have
and then
taken a
we
few
mentioned
moments to decide what to do. As soon as we're on the roof,
Okay.
I can summon him.
Okay.
So he knows.
Yes, sir.
So you'll do your little concentrated moment,
Right.
summon him sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there's a door up there. They got.
There's an access door to the roof.
Yes.
It's probably locked.
I mean,
Yes,
how
it
else
is
do you
locked.
think the employees go out for a smoke, a couple of beers?
Why would they go out to smoke?
You can smoke it
Get
indoors.
away from the boss?
There's the point.
Good.
On your burglary?
Burglary.
Unlikely to be better than a fair quality
Well,
lock.
it's
Dang.
security door.
You made him look it up rather than
Yes.
just so
All right.
totally overwhelming difficult.
Yes. So it's a fair lock.
But
So instead of it actually takes you a noticeable amount of time.
Is a fair lock like a good?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Takes you a minute or so.
it takes you 15 seconds.
Oh,
you don't
well.
just bump it. Very often,
he
people
just
don't
thought,
notice the amount of time it takes you to to pick a lock. This
they go,
time,
oh, it must not have
it
been
was
locked.
15 whole seconds that people were standing there waiting for you to pick the lock.
Yeah, well.
You only got one shift on it.
Yeah, I only got one shift on it.
So,
At least it's open.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh.
assuming you're hushing everybody
Yeah, yeah.
as well. All right.
And presumably my companion did not lose track of the letter in the few moments it took for him to report to me on the roof, and I think I'm going to be in the post office myself.
Right. So
Go back to tracking the letter.
in the amount of time it took you to have your discussion,
Mm-hmm.
make your decision, get the bungee cords ready,
Mm-hmm.
and drop down because they're ready 100% of the
No,
time.
you have to set the distance to fall.
Yeah.
Which we
So apparently
Yeah,
the
be
guy
careful.
who took the letter, you're getting the report,
Mhm.
went to a locked door that was reasonably close by, just sort of down a hallway area, unlocked it and went in. Your spirit companion followed him. The guy had like a tea kettle
and steamed it open.
and steamed it open.
Interesting. So,
So that was as far as he had gotten.
okay.
Um,
So he will return to that room and see if the letter is still in there.
Absolutely,
And the guy is
yes.
still in there. And I will whisper.
Now we have to follow the guy.
Yep. I will whisper this information to Rick and Jack while we're going along. So that takes interception from probable to yep, that's what's going on.
Maybe he just likes gum flavored tea.
that seems unlikely.
It's an acquired taste, I've heard.
I will grant
So-
the possibility, but the odds of that combined with the odds of him picking this letter, I kind of feel like it suddenly deciding to rain upwards is slightly likelier. We know that's happened a time or two. Charles Ford made sure we knew.
Mhm. So, this is down in like the basement of,
Mhm.
and you are starting out on the roof, and it's not a small building. I
No.
mean, if you've seen the downtown Minneapolis post office, for instance, it's bigger
I
than
haven't.
that. So it takes you a few moments. I mean, I suppose there aren't really any locked doors between where you are and where you're going.
there'll probably be.
But you have to get to the
moments when we have
stairs, go
to
down
slow-
all the stairs.
And there'll be a time or two we have to slow down or dodge slightly to not bump into something.
Right. So, I'm assuming that everybody is going to be able to roll at least fair every single time on their athletics.
Want me to make some number of rolls?
Why don't you make half a dozen rolls? Since I think you'll be the slow person.
Anytime I don't get fair, I will throw a fate point
Yeah,
at it, so
right.
that's just how many
only
fate
good.
points.
Okay, well,
One at least.
That's a bad start, yes.
That's good.
Reroll
Whoa.
gains a foot.
well, that doesn't give you anything, but
No.
bragging rights, I suppose.
Bragging rights, yeah.
You're more
That's
graceful.
annoying.
Wow.
Went from -2 to -3 on a reroll.
Okay
Yeah.
then.
Yeah,
So
give it
going
a
down
point.
flights of stairs
How
and
many-
through various doorways is your nemesis, apparently.
How many rolls were we to make?
6 rolls.
That was number 5. Yeah.
Well, the worst one I got was
Well, how can you
Superb.
can you actually roll
Low
below
enough to get
fair?
below fair?
That one was
No.
fair
Okay.
with 2 fate
So why did you even bother rolling?
I told the roll. Well, I actually wrote down my points.
Well, there
Well,
has
then
to
you're
be a better
incredibly
way.
graceful that time.
There,
That one's good.
that should be a fair, shouldn't it?
No, -1 gets me to average.
Oh,
So your 6 rolls, you had to spend 1 fate point.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Mm,
Yes.
and Martin is still spending them.
Yep.
Stairs, the great nemesis of Edgy.
Really
I
not.
told-
Not as bad as Paul.
I told him to raise his athletics, but he just won't do it.
Well,
It's tough to.
Now you have to lower
You can't
some
be-
now.
you can't be great at everything.
Can't even be good at everything.
Well, John Doe can. But
Yeah. But I like having academics, endurance, and resolve all at good.
Yeah.
They're always.
You can't be good at everything all the time.
That is
Yeah.
true. That is true also about John Doe, yes.
And that one is just bumping it up by 2, so that takes it
But
from
I have found
average
that
to
having
good.
a high
Down
athletics
to-
in other
Wow.
games, a high dexterity helps a lot keeping you alive.
All right.
There.
The
4.
second one was also a +2.
Uh-huh.
So that's a wash, good enough. Stays fair.
Yeah.
And that's another fate point.
Yup. So 4 fate points for 6.
I didn't do this
rolls,
to
but
make it
I
super
know.
hard for you. I just
Yeah,
I just wanted you to acknowledge
Okay.
that there were several barriers and distance
Understood.
between you
That's okay.
and the basement.
I
Having
haven't
to roll
spent
at
any
any
fate
time,
points in the
so-
last couple sessions. I'm not bitching too much. I did it.
It just seems ridiculous that was where.
Luck is fickle.
And the more times you roll, the more likely a bad roll.
Yes. Okay. So we're all in the basement
Yep.
now, and
All except for the 2 of us.
Yes.
All of
yes,
the
all of the
party
people who
that
went down are in the basement.
Yes, the group who went to the ground are in the basement.
And you were given a description of where the particular
Mhm. Yeah.
door was.
Yeah.
So
And for that matter, once we got fairly close, if I had trouble finding it, I could always call my spirit companion again.
right. And the 6 rolls included the distance to the
Yeah.
door.
Sure.
So now you're at this door.
Did he close it again behind you?
Yes.
I'm guessing.
It is
Did he
closed
lock
and
again?
it is locked.
Okay.
So
Very stealthy burglary.
this is another fair lock. So whoever's doing the burglary, make the roll.
We'll let Jack handle it this time, plus he wants me to.
Oh, to remain hidden, doesn't he have to?
No, actually, not.
No?
People just have to be within a
Close
zone
enough
of
to
it.
him.
And you can't do an
And-
attack.
Yeah, we can't do an attack.
Picking a lock is not an attack.
And,
No.
It's
you know,
an
if one
action.
of us started shouting, that might
Yeah,
compromise
if you're
it.
trying to intimidate somebody, that's an attack.
But-
Doing a maneuver.
Picking
or doing a
lock, if you
maneuver,
do
or
it
punching
well,
somebody to injure them. I mean,
Yeah.
there's all sorts of things that can be considered an attack. Picking a lock is not one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's
except when you don't
affecting
roll,
the fight.
when you only get a good.
Well,
Hasn't
once again,
moved-
that would only take 15 seconds.
Hasn't moved yet, Simon.
Because
Okay,
Because
fine.
I don't think the small
Yeah.
difference
I
in
have
elevation
no
would
problem with
necessarily
it
be
taking
noticeable.
15 seconds as long as
it
it's
hasn't gone up
quiet.
or down, actually. It came in, well, it went down into the
The sorting facility.
yeah, the sorting facility, so it was still on the truck when it went down, and it hasn't gone up
Up
yet.
since.
It's stayed in the basement the whole time.
Door is finally unlocked.
Where is
Did
it?
it
It's over
take
there.
15 seconds, or did you spend a fate point?
It's over there.
Okay.
Give it here.
As long as I do it quiet, I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
Well, your stealth
Mhm.
is so high, yes. Nobody hears you picking the lock. So you're in.
Mhm.
Lock it behind you so that when he turns around, the door's still locked.
Might as well.
Okay.
Hopefully it is a large enough room for it to be plausible that there are 4 people in it rather than 1, and he still doesn't
It's
notice.
it's about
Hard to pull off in a phone booth.
it's not a phone booth. It
Or a room
is
closet.
Room closet.
it is a walk-in closet sized room though.
Okay. So just barely.
Yeah, I mean you can maneuver and you got good enough stealth that he's not going to notice you.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the whole room is one zone.
yes, absolutely. So yes, everybody's in the same zone. Isn't that nice?
Is he hushed too?
No.
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 I can
Jack
choose.
has to know. Jack has to specify who he's touching.
Okay.
I choose who I hush and who I
Yeah.
don't.
I just think it would have been
And he can't just add people at random. He'd have to re-roll his stealth.
Yeah, see, when I hush a building, I have to re-roll.
Uh-huh.
understood. I actually knew that going in.
So
I
you
know.
can't hush a very large, maybe a small shack you could hush, but
I knew
There
the
was a
Empire-
shack there. What the hell?
What happened to the Empire State Building? Oh,
Yeah.
there is no Empire State Building.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That happened to the Old War.
So, he is
That would
actually,
take a custom stunt. I
he was
suspect.
doing this very efficiently and rapidly.
Mhm.
There is sort of a small desk with a camera that's pointing down, and he was taking pictures. When you got in there, he was basically photographing the last side of the last page.
Mhm.
And so he folds it back up as you're there. He puts it back in the envelope. He has a little like mucilage jar
Mhm.
with a brush. He, uses the brush.
Reglues it.
He reglues it, sticks it down, and then he goes to the door and unlocks it, which is very inconvenient for you guys as you're having
You
to
have to
shuffle
dodge
around
out of
him.
his way.
But here's the fun part. As he opens the door and he steps through, we step through.
Okay. Yes, and then he
Although we may need
Closes
to get
it
the
and locks
film
it
out of
again.
that camera later.
and then he walks back over to. I mean, there's all this machinery down here
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
letters zipping all over the place. He somehow seems to know exactly where to put this envelope, so he sticks it into the machinery,
Well, he's
sort of hits it, and suddenly it goes zipping off.
Mhm.
And then he goes back to
The camera room.
the camera room
mm,
where he basically he takes out the roll of film and puts it in his pocket,
mhm.
and then he had to unlock the door, open the door, go back out, blah 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 blah. Then he wanders away,
Followed by us.
followed by you, and he goes up to an office on the second floor.
Mhm. Does it say anything on the door? Of the
Yes,
office?
it's International Customs Manager.
Aha. Might as well bribe somebody at the top, I suppose.
I don't think this would be considered the top.
No, but I mean, for in this post office, he might be the.
He's a middle manager, almost
Okay.
certainly, because nobody would get this kind of an office if they were at the top.
Yeah.
He's got kind of a shabby little office. And yeah, he sits down and he starts processing papers.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's his job. He's
Yep.
he's dealing with
And
customs
presumably
forms.
he will take the film away and deal with it later on his own time.
Yes.
That would certainly be my job. Okay. I'm going to suggest that we step out into the hall because I don't want to have a radio conversation while in the same room just in case. Seems an unnecessary risk.
This guy does not look like he's gonna penetrate Jack's stealth.
Okay. You know,
Yeah,
after
And as long as you're not saying, I'm shouting at the top of my lungs, you aren't breaking his stealth either. If you're just using normal hushed tones,
Mm-hmm.
Jack will be able to cover you.
Okay. Yeah, Jack.
What was the title on the room? International
International.
Customs Manager.
I didn't mean like he was in charge of the whole post office, but he might be in effect in charge of international mail for this post office.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What he is a paper pusher.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell that by what he's doing, which is
Pushing mail.
pushing papers around.
And having had to push those papers, I take money to do something else.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
yeah, if you don't find where this film goes, I'll be coming back and pushing him out a window.
All
I
right.
don't know, you might actually get better results by holding him out a window by one ankle and then asking him a few questions.
I do that first.
So, his phone rings and he answers it. He has a very brief conversation about
Gets
one of
charged up
the
when I get
forms that he had been filling out. He hangs up. Then he calls somebody. And he just says, ready. And then he hangs up.
It's just
That's a little too cryptic to be plausible as ordinary business. What I wanted to call in, I wanted to tell Simon and Annie that the letter is back in its envelope after being carefully photographed. We're keeping track of the guy who has the film.
Okay, so we can't photograph. Okay.
Now,
International Customs
Manager.
Well, okay, you could be silly.
you can grab the letter and put it in his pocket.
No,
That'd be kind of difficult.
grab the stamp and put it inside the camera that we put it in with the film.
Had you?
would have had to have done that a little bit ago. I
Yeah.
can still track down the letter and do it.
Well, yes, I'm saying it would take some work, but you could do that at this point.
Well, we have
Only
a
trouble
person.
is it would then be either a piece of international mail with no stamp, or the well, actually, we've got somebody with.
I don't think it's worth it. Jack can track him.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
I
down.
have
We're
confidence.
down here. We have the
It
guy
isn't
in sight.
misplaced,
He's
is
got
it,
the
Jack?
film in his pocket.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm confident that we can keep track of that film without needing additional assistance.
Well,
Interesting.
it was fun while it lasted.
Actually, it was sort
I
of
was looking
boring
forward to
in
a trip home.
places.
Well, you could still follow the mail if you really wanted to.
At some point, I would be sort of curious what
Australia is
happens
nice
to the
this
letters
time of
when
year
they
in
get
summer.
to Australia,
It's
but they
crap.
may well be piling up in the.
Whatever they call the dead letter office.
You don't even
Yeah.
know if it's a real address.
It might not be a dead letter. You could have someone double check that they arrived.
Possibly. But right now, the film is going to be
what we follow.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, you hang out there for another about 15 minutes with nothing much happening. I mean, he continues
to
pushing
do
papers.
paperwork, yes.
What was it that he said when he made the phone call again?
Ready.
Ready.
Okay.
He made a phone call out.
Yeah.
He made a phone call out.
And that was the one where he just said ready.
Yes, he
and
called
hung up.
Tacoma 205.
Okay.
My favorite phone number because it's mine. Home phone number is Tacoma 205.
Interesting.
Steve is counting something for some reason.
Obviously, Tacoma has more.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how many digits that comes to also.
It would be 5 digits, typically.
Right, because they normally just use the first 2 letters of whatever the word code is. Yes, that would a 5-digit phone number is definitely unusual in this day and age.
Not in 1924 it is.
Right. Yes.
Yes, but how you get from Tacoma 205 to your phone number, I think, is the question.
TAC is 822. O is 0.
Ah.
My phone number is 822-0205.
So you
Well,
ignore
I
the
would
MA.
call it.
Yes, that's what
Taco
you normally
205.
would ignore everything after the first 2 letters.
Right.
But
But if you use the first 5 letters,
Yes.
it comes out.
it comes
First
out
4.
correct. Yeah. Yes. And that's what they used to do. They used to have the 3 digits and then the 2 letters, and that was a phone number. So
Or normally.
There'll never be more than 1,000 numbers in a single exchange.
Sounds like plenty to me.
yeah. Well,
640K
a few years- I
is
mean,
more than enough memory.
this is the year after they invented the dial phone.
Yeah.
So
I can see people feeling like that's adequate coding for a long time to come.
Oh
And
yeah,
most
they
places
certainly
they'd
felt
be
that
right.
way. They were
They,
wrong.
they were certain they would never have to change IP addresses.
No, they weren't. They
Some
honestly
people were
weren't.
certain, but
They figured it'd last longer than it did, but
Yeah.
Well, never was too strong a word. They thought they had a longer time before they had to expand
Yes,
the address
absolutely.
space.
So,
How long did the
how long was it? 5 digits?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but I think it was into the 30s.
Okay.
after World War II, some places, but that was mostly smaller towns.
Yeah.
I'm more familiar with when IPv4 came out.
Okay.
Yes, well,
So, 15 minutes goes by, as I said. And a courier shows up. And there is like a big envelope of, pieces of paper that he'd been putting into the envelope. He seals the envelope. So you're watching him fairly closely.
oh yeah.
Make an investigation roll. This is way easier than would normally be something that.
Wash, so superb, except I probably get a focus sense bonus for sight, so I'm epic 2 for spotting.
All right,
something
so
visually.
he slips the film thing into this big thick envelope of papers as well and seals it up.
Now we have to track the courier with it.
Yes, and the courier picks it up and puts it into his pouch and heads off,
Okay.
Followed by the 3 of us.
Yup.
followed by the 3 of you. Yes.
I hope he's not a bicycle courier.
If he
If he's a bicycle courier, he's going to get a flat tire.
that would be one way to do it.
So he heads out of the post office and he gets on a motorcycle.
Well, it's the next best thing.
Almost the same.
Fortunately, I have a silencer in my gun.
Okay, please don't shoot the courier. He's a courier.
Yeah.
Shooting the tire, you cunt.
Okay, good.
Ready to
Right.
roll?
Why not?
What's the
You might
likelihood
roll a
of
-4 and have to spend a fate point.
I mean, it's a small area that you're aiming at. These aren't huge tires.
No, I
Tires
got
are
gun.
not dodging.
Okay. Well, that's a lot of overflow.
Probably +1, sorry.
So
So it looks like the tire spontaneously blew and shredded.
right. Okay, so he starts up and his tire blows.
Okay.
And he is very unhappy.
He probably expresses the unhappiness.
He does in several colorful words. He spends some time examining the tire while continuing to express himself colorfully.
Yeah, it's because this is not going to be a simple repair.
Yes, this is not a patch. He is prepared to do a patch. This is a huge tear in the tire. Like, how did this happen? There's nothing on the street to have done this. I mean, he looked around and there was not like debris that he'd run
Right.
over or something like that. So he is
But tires-
mystified and super pissed.
Tires at this time were a grade of rubber that occasionally just happened.
I know, but it's very
I
unfortunate
wish
for
it
him.
Yes.
could have run over a small piece of glass or something hours ago, and it just worked its way to the right spot.
Something happened.
He'll come
Maybe
up with
somebody
his own
shot his
explanation.
tire out.
Yeah, but he'd have heard that.
Yes,
Besides,
obviously.
nobody's close enough.
Yes, if either of you had shot his tire out, he would have heard it.
I have guns at average. I'm not gonna try unless I'm the only one there, and the situation is
Yeah, they probably shoot
more
Rick, so.
this. No, if I were the only one there, I couldn't shoot Rick, and I'd have to roll worse than usual to hit myself in the foot or something.
What's
But I
your
might-
weapon
yes.
skill?
Guns specifically, I have an average. Oh, weapons.
Weapons.
Weapons, I have a fair, but actually, yeah, fair would.
Do you have a knife?
Yes, I do.
So you could throw a knife, except that would leave the knife there.
Yeah.
Well, but he could potentially reach out and just
Oh,
do a
just
pull.
yes. I suppose
You
instead
break
of
stealth,
throwing,
though.
if he
You break stealth.
that's
So
what
you
I
can't
was
have
saying. That if he'd shot the tire out, the guy would have heard it, even with a silencer, because it still makes noise.
It
Yeah.
does, unless you put a pillow in front of it.
And then it just snores.
Or,
You,
or
you,
one of
you
these
get
in
a
front
little
of it.
puff.
Empty one of these. Of course, they had those in 1920s.
So,
So we have.
It
we
was
have
easier
built-
to get a noise suppressor than it was to get a plastic bottle in 19.
yeah.
Yes, quite true. So we have bought some time once once
Yes, this is
handed
going to go on
off
for a
to
few
another
minutes as he tries to figure
courier.
out what to do.
We're still going to need to follow the package somehow. Well, follow the courier, or if it gets handed off to someone else, follow the new courier.
Right. So,
Okay.
Jack, we need to borrow a car.
I know.
Um,
So I'm gonna have to find a parked car and hotwire it.
Are you going to summon your spirit companion and tell him the film's in there?
he,
Certain the
yeah, I mean, he's following the letter still because you didn't tell him to stop
Call
doing
him
it.
back.
I can yeah, we
I'm-
can find the letter
Maybe
again
he's
later.
looking forward to
We'll-
a winter in Australia.
Well, he doesn't feel the cold either, so maybe he's always wanted to visit Ayers Rock. I don't know. Anyway,
I always wanted to go to the Outback, right?
I
have good steak,
will
right?
call him and tell him, in that envelope there's a
In that bag, there's an envelope. In that envelope, there's this canister of film.
and
Follow
I'll-
film.
that is higher priority.
Follow
And
film.
describe the size of the envelope.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be harder to follow for him. It doesn't have a mystery
Mystery
signature.
Right, but I can give him a clear visualization
Are you giving
of
us
it,
an update?
and I will in a moment. I
Okay.
want updating my spirit
click
and
coding it.
entire priority.
Okay.
Okay,
Simon?
he has a bag, right?
Yeah,
He
it's a
has-
big satchel.
Okay,
That's
and
and it's
I
got
don't
a.
know
and he
how
has
the
it down on
dust
the ground
cloud
because he's
works.
putzing around with the
Is
motorcycle.
there something
No,
you
it's
could
still
put on
there's
the
a big
courier
strap
of the
that hangs
bag
it
so
over
can
at his
follow it?
side.
Okay,
And it's a leather satchel with a leather strap.
Not from here.
I want to take it on a knife.
You're stabbing Edgy? Ow!
No, I see exactly what he has in mind, and I'll go along with it. My spirit companion is going to find it incredibly easy to follow a drop of my blood.
Okay.
As I put it on the
Jack
thing.
is going to tag the
package.
envelope. I'm guessing. Yes.
So I'm going to use sleight of hand
Okay.
to open the bag.
Without the
All right,
courier noticing.
Can you roll worse than mediocre on
Yes.
your burglary?
Yes, I can roll worse than my sleight of hand.
Well, but he specified burglary.
Because it has a cheap lock on it. It's locked shut so that people can't just slip into it.
Okay, well I guess I have to unlock it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
but it's a mediocre lock. So you don't even if you can roll worse than mediocre. All right, so you do it easily and quickly.
Yep. Quick and quiet.
Well, that's the lock. Now I have
Yeah.
to do sleight of hand to grab it, to put the blood on.
Really not. It's just in there.
Okay.
He was
And you are stealth to the point that he's not noticing what you're doing.
And I don't know about him.
I mean,
but
if
most people would put the bag aside while fixing a tire.
He's not fixing the
He's
tire
been-
though.
He's cursing.
He
so-
can't fix the
Cursing.
tire.
He
figuring
looks
out
at it and
what
goes,
plan
"Well,
B is.
I could fix it if it was a hole, but
half the tire.
it's
or a third
ripped.
of the tire.
It's a huge rip. There's no way I can fix it. I mean, he's
still
using
searching.
other language than I am.
A few intensifiers now and then.
Yes.
He's basically Yosemite Sam, but he's actually not on a cartoon, so you can actually say what he wants to say.
Yes. Yes, it's not all
I was going to say.
rest.
I was going to say the ratio of intensifiers to
Verbs or
to
nouns.
verbs and nouns is probably in excess of 1:1.
Yeah, you're probably correct.
But we're streaming, to who knows who, and I really don't want to use a lot of bad language.
Right.
He demonstrates how extensive his knowledge
Of
of
curse words.
expletives is.
Yes, expletives.
Must have been a sailor.
Yeah.
Or at least hung out down by the
Yeah.
wharfs a fair
Yes, he
amount.
hangs out down by the docks, if you know what I mean.
Only if he's wearing women's clothes.
So, yes. I mean, if you were going to say, and I pull out the envelope and substitute another envelope for it, then I would say you'll have to use sleight of hand for that. But you're just sort of unlocking it, lifting it a little, and daubing, because it's easy to see which one was the envelope that you want.
Yep.
You daubing a little blood on the. You're not going into the envelope,
No.
right?
No. Just
All right, just on the great big manila envelope that the International Customs Manager handed to the courier, and then you close it and lock it again.
Sounds very clever thought. So I can now tell.
Laurel says
my
I should watch my language.
I can now tell my spirit companion to keep track of the envelope with the little bits of my blood on it. That should be a much easier job.
Okay. Well,
Now
that
we're
adds an
clever.
aspect, yes.
Edgy's blood.
So, after a lot of swearing and a lot of seeing, trying to figure out what he should do about this, he goes back into the post office.
Okay. As he's doing that, I'm going to have to find that car that's not being used
Okay.
and start using it.
All right. That's not hard. There are plenty of cars parked on the street.
Okay. We'll have to roll. Just have
Should,
to hotwire
should
it,
we go
right?
down
Roll engineering.
or stay up
I
here?
think stay up.
Okay,
for the
that's
moment.
good enough to
Okay.
hotwire a car. You have fairly decent knowledge of automotive mechanics, so
I didn't roll well.
that's fine. You don't have to
This
roll
will be a
awe-inspiring
good
every
enough
single time.
So,
I will go get my Omnivision goggles,
Okay.
and basically with them, I think it's good enough that when I'm told what car it is, I should be able to see it,
Okay.
because it then puts investigation and alertness at.
so I will pull up in front of the post office and these two in the vehicle. And
So while you were doing that, the guy had gone into the post
Yep.
office.
Yep.
Apparently nobody followed him into the post office.
Because they're
Well-
not stealth.
Oh, that's right. You went off, unless
no,
you
no,
two
they
were.
had to go with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So they were stealth.
Yes.
Right. So they went off
And
with
do
you to
that
get the
and-
car.
And we came back.
Came back.
But you see, we got the spirit companion
Right.
Following
Back
the
in
envelope. Yes.
Yes.
Which he's still got in his bag, and he's not leaving his bag behind.
That is correct. He still has his bag. Very, very dutiful about that.
I'm waiting for him to come out.
Right. And he does come out, minutes later. And almost immediately, apparently this person was very close, somebody drives up on a motorcycle. The courier passes off the satchel to the guy who drives up on the motorcycle, who then zooms off.
With
And
us
we
following.
follow him.
Yes.
This is gonna be fun.
So, do I notice the exchange?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, we look to be heading. I will
The three
relay
of us,
directions to the pilot.
The three of us got to do car chase through the streets of San Francisco.
Okay, who's
Yes.
driving?
With air support.
Who has the best
That
drive?
might help.
That'd be me.
Okay.
There you go.
Because this guy is not driving safely. I mean,
And he's got a smaller vehicle.
he's
a
got a
young
motorcycle
motorcycle
and he
carrier
doesn't
who
care about
thinks he's a
safety
hot
very
shot.
much, apparently.
And my drive is mediocre.
So he's doing things
Okay, that
like
was a shitter of a roll.
That was not a great one.
so he's doing things like
Hey,
driving
Brian.
between
Between cars, yes.
Right.
We just need
Let's
to
see.
keep him in sight.
My drive is average. That would be not great.
And
That's
yeah,
fair.
that
if
would
he
be
thinks he
four.
can make it through an intersection without stopping, he does that. Ignoring, like, the
Stop
traffic
signs and
cops,
traffic
or,
cops
yes,
and-
the,
yes.
So how high do I need my drive to be? Good.
to
great?
follow this guy, good.
Okay. So this is gonna have to be a reroll.
Yeah.
Nobody does it better.
Yeah, it's not great level, but
Well, that's a
you're,
wash.
you're at
That's a
a
wash.
you're
That's
at a-
average,
a-
fair, good.
Another fate point.
little
Give you a
extra
good.
difficulty just
Okay.
because you're not driving a
Man's
motorcycle.
got to rely on himself. There.
Okay,
I'm keeping pace with him,
all right.
at least so far.
So the people in the car are probably a little unhappy right now
How many of you
because
have ridden with Red?
yes,
I
this is
certainly
very
have
much
ridden with Red,
this is very much like
but I don't think you have.
No.
Yeah.
red driving. I mean, really, it's like zooming around things and
She'd drive it great, and she would roll well.
And
And
she
she had a
had an
custom car.
invisible car.
She had an invisible custom car.
yes. So
You're probably attracting some attention.
At this moment, I am going to pull out my coin and rub it.
So, I'm assuming that you got a car that is small enough that it is within your hush range. It's not like a big truck, for
No, I
instance.
got a Model A,
Fine.
which is enough to fit 3 people. That's pretty much it.
Yes. So, so nobody
you have to
is
get out to change
noticing
your
you
mind.
driving
Yes.
like a maniac.
Because he didn't hush the vehicle. Oh, that means he had to
helpful.
re-roll his hush.
I still
Didn't he?
Oh, that's
He
right.
rolled
You
his
need to
dice.
re-roll your stealth if you're stealthing the vehicle. And if you're not stealthing the vehicle, the cops are going to be after you soon. Because they let this motorcycle courier go doing the stuff he's doing, but you're in a car, and that's a lot more dangerous. All right, so that's awe-inspiring.
Unlikely that they will notice.
Yes.
Yeah,
They do not
As
notice.
long
Nobody
as you don't
notices.
get in an accident.
Since they kind of have to get to Fantastic to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, awe-inspiring. They
I
have
do
to get to
40 fate.
They have to get to Fantastic and then be able to spend a fate point. Well, no,
don't have to.
yeah, no,
Regardless,
they're
they're
not
not going to do it.
They're not going to do it.
Yes. So,
We need to cross paths with somebody who has good alertness for it to be in even the and
That's
has
pretty.
fate
That's pretty
points
rare.
to have be in even the slightest danger.
Yeah.
No, I think you have to run across somebody who's great because you have to beat his.
Right.
Remember, you have to beat his awe-inspiring.
normal people do not have that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
You will have average, maybe fair.
Yeah.
If somebody's really
Even
involved.
even a sidekick would not have great.
And no fate points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So,
you know, maybe somewhere between 1 out of 20 and 1 out of 50 policemen might have fair alertness.
Yeah. So yeah, this is some variety of fun.
Yeah, takes me back.
If you want to have me roll my resolve to see if I get panty or not.
It's not. It's
It's
not
not so
probably
much
not
resolve,
that
it's just
bad.
endurance
I
to
guess-
see if your emotions sink. But
No.
I mean, if Rick had left it at say average drive, there would have been a number of benders along the way, and then resolve would have come into play.
this is just, kind of exciting.
This is yes. Exciting is a good word for it. So you drive for quite a while, and then
Rick, how much were you drinking?
he is not driving drunkenly. If he was
Why do
drunk,
you think?
he would have hit a lot of stuff.
What makes you think I need to be drinking? Anyway,
No, you might need to be drinking afterwards, but not during.
Yeah.
Or at least you might prefer to be drinking afterwards.
I know who my next companion will be. Pick up and drop off. Whose specialty will be driving.
Oh, God. And independent.
Oh yes, you'll have to have independence.
Yeah.
You'll be a Russian race car driver.
Yes.
Just don't have a green vehicle.
Yes, Hawk has drive at fair.
Mm-hmm.
So he eventually pulls up in front of a sort of nondescript office building.
This may be where it gets really interesting.
Where he goes in. I assume continuing to follow
yeah.
him. He goes up like 2 flights of stairs, down a hallway, and knocks on a door that says International Processing. That's a really nondescript title, but that's what it says.
Yep.
And
Kind of in the same ballpark as imports and exports.
yes. It's like a Hong Kong import-export company. Somebody says, come in. He goes in.
We go in.
He fiddles with the lock to unlock it. He pulls out the big sheaf of papers, right, the big manila envelope that's filled with papers. Hands it over. There's a piece of paper on it. The guy signs for it, takes it, and he heads off.
Yep. And
So the courier leaves.
The courier,
Yeah.
that's when I say he heads off, that's
Yeah.
the courier. Leaves.
and I give it about a 90% chance that the courier is just a courier, and this guy is either who
So-
we hear about or in communication with.
Did we manage to keep up?
You were following the car that they were in.
That's no.
That's
No. I was following,
following
the
the motorcycle.
motorcycle
Yeah.
because
Okay,
I
you couldn't see the
their
car once Jack stealthed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Make
Given
a
the advantage of an aerial viewpoint. that
yeah. I mean,
that
you
would
do have
be
advantages
some
here. It's not that high of a roll.
What
You can actually
Oh,
tag aerial view.
on
investigation,
investigation?
Investigation. Yeah.
Okay.
which at the moment is the same
It's
as
5.
your science.
Yes,
because of the
so I-
goggles.
Got a fantastic.
Okay, that's well above
About
what you
what
need.
I needed.
You needed good.
The equivalent of drunken hummingbird for driving.
There's something about collateral damage. Or you
No,
do-
that's not the same.
Okay.
Drunken hummingbird is you drink and then you fly. And while you
Okay.
fly, you drink some more. Every time you fail an endurance roll to take an additional degree of intoxication, you get a +1 on your
Fly.
fly. So drunk 1 is pilot gives you +1 on your pilot. Drunk 2 gives you +2. Drunk 3 gives you +3 on all your piloting rolls.
Okay. But
You're,
I
of course,
assume drunk has other effects.
You're -2 on anything else when you hit
Okay.
that point.
You're right. Remind me of episode of WTF
Yeah. I was thinking the same one.
with Dr. Johnny Beaver.
His reflexes get faster the more
Yes.
he drinks.
Yeah.
And the person testing him could not believe that was happening.
Finally, he just gives up, just starts taking us away.
Yep, that was a gooder.
Yeah. Who else was doing it? Venus Flytrap?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was doing the normal,
Yes.
getting worse as he got drunker.
I need a lid. The man's got a lid. I need a lid.
Uh-huh. Yes. Anyway, yes, you're not following the courier, you're staying here.
Yep.
So, the guy, as soon as the courier is gone, he waits about 15 more seconds. He opens up the big envelope, he takes out the film canister, and then he takes the entire manila envelope filled with papers and throws it in the
Trash.
wastebasket.
Saw that coming.
So, then there's a door behind him. I mean, this is a small office with a desk and a chair.
But you've got a dark room in the next room.
Yes, he opens up the door and it's actually more than a dark room. There's stuff in there. But he's using the dark room-ness of it right now. He goes in and he develops the film.
I might recommend that Jack try an investigation aided by engineering of what the other equipment is, in case there's anything out.
Radio equipment.
Ah,
Okay.
You don't have to roll to recognize radio
Radio
equipment. It's not even especially sophisticated radio equipment.
but it is radio equipment.
But it
which
is radio
not
equipment.
Everybody would have in a small room adjoining their office.
Okay. Now it's time to get on the watch.
Okay. You don't have to whisper in real life. I'll assume that you're hushed.
I find
You
it
have
all
high
fine.
stealth. You could actually speak at a normal volume. And this guy isn't going to hear you.
And this is
Hello.
Jack. Film has been developed, or being developed,
So I don't have to follow the courier anymore?
No.
Okay.
but I got a feeling he's going to somehow use a radio here to transmit. I need you to set up some kind of a triangulation so you can figure out where that transmission's going to go.
I can get a direction on any replies that might come in, but I also it'd be very helpful to know the frequency. So watch the dial as he uses it.
Okie dokie.
I'll tell you what it's set at.
Make an engineering roll. That's good enough. You give Annie the frequency. It's set.
And
See,
I
this
will
is going to be probably AM. So I'm going to say it's like 15.5 kilohertz.
Okay.
Yeah, FM either hadn't been invented or it was a newfangled thing.
It's soon to come.
If you can wait here,
It's in the soon to
Simon.
come category.
Sure.
Yeah, so this is not FM.
Okay.
No.
I go up to the communications area and get ready to monitor that frequency, unless Jack gives me a different one.
See. FM radio doesn't come until 1933.
Ah, yeah.
I thought it was even later than that. I'm
Page
surprised.
208.
Okay.
You don't want to look that up.
How about shortwave?
Shortwave has been around for longer.
Doesn't say that here, so it might already exist.
Yeah, I think it was actually discovered accidentally.
Oh, the telephoto lens is being invented this year.
How exciting!
Actually is for some things.
And inventing Kleenex this year.
And
Wow.
more useful to most people.
Uh-huh.
Yep,
So,
it's nothing to sneeze at.
nothing to sneeze at. No. So, he develops the film. It takes a certain amount of time. Then, he, well, there was a little cart. You hadn't really noticed it was sitting off somewhere. He pulls this sort of wooden box-like thing up off the top of the cart, sets it aside.
Now I'm going to investigate with engineering to see if I can figure out what it is.
Absolutely. It's an encoding typewriter.
Aha.
It's not as complicated as the Enigma machine.
But same sort of principle.
Same sort of
with fewer
gears
rollers.
turning, and
Yeah.
It's like electric. that they have.
no, it's entirely mechanical.
Electric is for mechanical. Electric is for
Oh,
mechanical.
Lecter, not electric. The Lecter device. It was a precursor to the Enigma device.
This
I've
is
heard
a
of it.
mechanical typewriter with gears in it
Okay.
that have gear ratios that, so it's not a simple shift cipher, but it is, a complicated shift cipher we could say. And it doesn't look like it can be reset. It doesn't have like plugs to set it to different,
No,
things.
but if the way it cycles is complicated enough, you were careful not to use the same phrasings over and over, it'd be
Fortunately, I don't
moderately
have
hard
to
crack.
decode the letter I wrote.
Yes. Anyway, so
Yes,
he's
having no
got this
weird
setting there. He
accent.
types. You can see that he's typing word for word
Uh-huh.
what are on the photographs, but
So Annie would
gibberish is
probably
coming
find
out of the typewriter.
would probably find it trivial to figure out the encoding mechanism for deciphering any other.
Annie would need to actually look at the gears to be able to figure this out.
Or have a
Or
heck of a
intercept the
lot of
message.
clears and encrypted messages.
I know what the
to compare.
unencoded message is.
Yes, but it's
Encoded.
a shifting cipher.
It depends on how long this. It depends. On
Yeah,
how
I
long
mean,
this
this is you need a very long.
You
Like
can do
big
something that
pages
in
both
effect
sides.
is
Like
an
we're
infinite
sending.
length cycle where
Think of the
each,
slide though you need.
where each
Yes, think of the slide rule.
yeah. Each
Anyway,
of the encrypted letters determines the setting for the next encryption
So,
or something like that.
finishes up,
Won't reliably repeat.
sets the sort of wooden box on top of the cart again, moves the cart away, goes to the radio,
And starts tapping.
powers
up
it
the
up, and
thing
starts,
in
tapping
course.
away.
Oh,
transmitting now.
Well,
So-
transmission is going to go every
Everywhere.
direction. but
That's right. There's a large antenna, in fact, on top of this building.
Is it directional?
Well, it might be.
Okay.
It is not.
So
He's just broadcasting.
Okay, he has a vertical or he has a dipole. He doesn't have a beat.
No.
With
Yeah.
rotator the rotator.
So, I paid. I checked that I am getting it in, and because it's boring, take down notes.
Yes.
What Morse code is being sent.
Okay.
Wow, that doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it is entirely gibberish.
Too many X's and A's to start with.
Okay. It is a very high power signal.
Oh,
Uh,
by the way, shortwave starts in about the 1920s, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, they discovered it by accident. People were picking up
Marconi
signals too
and
far.
Charles Samuel
I do
Franklin
not know
carry
what's
out
going on with my
large-scale
voice.
study. June and July of 23, wireless transmissions were completed during night sun, 97 meters from Holdho to Marconi's yacht Electra in the Cape Verde Islands.
So it's still
So
experimental.
It's still
it
very
is,
experimental.
it's
to be
AM,
short
but it's outside of the normal
band.
band.
Okay, well, I picked the frequency was in the normal AM.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. It's outside of the normal AM band. This goes on for a while. It's
A long letter.
Yeah, it's a long letter. It takes a lot of Morse code. And then he stops and
Make a science.
make a
roll.
science roll.
Your face points like goodness. Yeah,
Yeah,
points.
yep. I think, although it may not be the smartest, I will go for the reroll. So, let's see. I think it's brains over brawn. It's we're not running around to find the answer. We're
Well,
that was the
That
correct
paid off.
answer.
+3.
Yes, so that'd be legendary.
Okay, so not
Uh,
on the same frequency, but a
Okay.
close frequency. A sort of a signal comes in, and you notice when he notices, the guy who's listening notices the signal, and then he shuts down the machine.
Okay, so when he's listening to his receiver, I'm going to make a note of what the frequency is.
Okay,
And
as I said, it's a close frequency, but not the same frequency he sent out.
okay, it's a sugar roll.
at.
Well, I'm doing investigation, right? Or am I doing engineering?
Engineering.
Yeah, I got fair right now.
I mean, investigation. You can see what he's doing.
Oh,
he's not hiding it at all
Okay,
because
fair.
there's no one in the room with him. Who would he be hiding it from?
okay. So I'm going to say receiving on 19.4.
So
Instead of
then
0.5.
you shift to that, and so
I probably get gobbledygook back, or
yeah, it's actually like a 3-word response. All is okay.
Okay.
Um,
And do I get the power and the direction?
it's incredibly faint,
Okay.
and it is what would that be? West southwest.
Southwest.
Okay, so you're going more west than southwest, but you're between west and southwest.
right, and going west from San Francisco takes you out
Faint.
over the ocean.
Yes.
Like to Hawaii.
Or
What?
somebody
Really?
Good thing we have an airship.
Or somebody broadcasting from a boat.
Could be.
Or ship, boat
Yeah.
or ship.
Yeah.
That is.
And now I am going to do some calculations.
Yes.
Figuring just, I can see the radio antenna down there. Try and get an approximation of how far away the signal, assuming what the reasonable range that signal would have come from. Assuming no devices like I would build.
It's yeah. Somebody with a really powerful radio transceiver. I mean, Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Hello, Hawaii, how are you?
Or again, possibly closer.
It could be closer with a
It could be
weaker
close.
one.
It could be a weaker transmission from Catalina Island.
Not
That would
what
be
I
weird.
told that on.
Yeah.
Wrong direction. That's too much sound.
Yeah, that's almost due south.
But it could be a weaker from a boat.
Or it could be even stronger and be coming from New Zealand, roughly.
Um,
No, that'd be more south. Not well.
yeah, I mean, it would
That
have to
is
be.
a long
It would
way
have to
back.
be.
It could be Australia.
Well, you'd have to go.
I mean,
over
there
the
are
equator.
other things sort of in that
Yeah.
general area. There's Midway Atoll. There's
Yep.
Wake Island, Mariana Islands,
That's it.
Guam,
They're at Howland Island. They're waiting for
and yes, the Philippines. But
Amelia Earhart.
those would have to be extremely strong.
Uh-huh.
And you know, people don't
Pretty
hang
strong
out
direction.
on Midway Atoll or Wake Island usually.
That's
With
why
giant
they were
radio
chosen.
transceivers. so
Not this
so
year.
I'm sorry, but my voice is giving out on me.
Okay.
So I am going to call it early.
Okay.
I do not know what has happened, but can you hear it?
Yeah.
I
It wasn't really obvious till the last 10 minutes or so.
don't know what's going on. I don't want to strain my voice too much.
Right.
Anyway, so yes, you could hide a big radio transceiver on the big island of Hawaii or some of the other islands, as a matter of fact. It would be really hard to hide a transceiver this as big as it would have to be on like Guam, which is
Well,
a
and
tiny
there's-
little island.
And there's there are several nominally uninhabited
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hawaiian islands that would be.
Anyway,
Okay.
so
Let's see.
So I didn't use any, so I'm still at 42.
No, I didn't use any.
Molokai? I think it's Molokai that's the leper
Jack is
colony.
at 40.
Laurel wants to know what my deal is today.
Hmm.
I don't know, Laurel. My voice is down on me.
Did JD spend any?
He spent one.
I'm down to 40.
40.
I'm down to 42.
Spent 4, so I also am at 42. We've got 3 of us who have 42 pay points.
Yes. 3 of us who must know the answer to life, universe, and everything.
So, everybody who's watching this stream, thank you for showing up. Sorry it's shorter than usual.
It's fine.
My next stream will be tomorrow. I will be streaming Realm of the Mad God.
And I expect that Ed may be needed at least a little bit next week, even though I'm not here. At least if you need his spirit